On the day I was diagnosed, I was at work and I had been for a smear test a couple of days before, and I had a call from the doctor to say, could I come in? She had something to discuss with me, so of course I thought it was bad. Asked a friend to come with me and went in, and she just said, I'm really sorry, but it's cancer. And all of a sudden this big black cloud just came over my head, and it was just horrendous. There was no tears, I was just numb, really. I had to make the phone call to Mum in England. That was awful. It was 4 in the morning when I woke her up, and as soon as I spoke to her, that's when the tears came, and it was horrible. It was awful. But she just dropped everything and came over and was with me pretty much 24 hours later. That was the day life, as I knew it, kind of ended, and this new craziness started. So I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. I'd had some mid-cycle bleeding about 3 months before, and just thought because I was on the pill, wasn't taking the pill properly, or it was just a bit strange. So I had gone over to the UK for my usual trip home, and when I was there, realised something was wrong because the bleeding had got more frequent. So as soon as I got back, I went for my pap smear, and obviously that's when they diagnosed it. The problem was that I had all the lymph glands in my groin were up. They were quite hard, and so there was a concern as to whether the cancer had spread to the lymph. So when I had scans, it was quite stressful, because we didn't know whether it would be kind of late stage cancer or if it could still be early stage. But thankfully it was just stage 1. It had stayed in my cervix, so hadn't spread too much. Such a nice day. When you're first diagnosed, a million questions come into your head, and it's not until later on that you actually get answers to them, and it's terrifying. I think any patient diagnosed with cancer always asks why me? It's a question actually you shouldn't ask, because it's going to affect 50% of the population at some point. So it's just disappointing for me that it happened when I was 29 and kind of at a stage of life where I wanted to have children and things. You also have questions about what will the next 6 months, what treatment, how am I going to feel, what's involved really. I was referred to a gynae surgeon who was going to perform a hysterectomy and remove my cervix and everything around that, and try and remove all the cancer with that. When he actually opened me up to do the hysterectomy, he saw a lymph gland just nearby that looked quite necrotic and not very good, so he actually sent that off to pathology while I was still under general anaesthetic, and they confirmed that the cancer had actually spread to my lymph, but it was only the one lymph. But sadly, that meant that I couldn't complete the hysterectomy, and I was going to be referred on to have chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
There's that bite you want.
Nice. Chemoradiation was actually full of hope in a strange way. You have this cancer growing inside you, and it's a horrible thought. So as soon as you start treatment, you think I'm killing the cancer. I'd actually named my cancer Colin. So every day I would think about Colin being poisoned and killed, and yeah, not very happy with me. So yeah, it's quite a positive time. In the chemo suite, you get to speak to other cancer patients, which I found really helpful. I had a platinum treatment, so actually I didn't lose my hair, which was great, because when you're having good days, no one actually knows you're sick. Chemo made me sick as a dog. It's not a nice experience, of course. It's not there to be. It's there to poison you and to poison the cells. I was off food. The smell of food made me feel sick, and so I lived off juice, basically. Just one of those things that you have to go through, in your cancer treatment. What was very interesting for me was actually the radiotherapy. Is this big machine goes around, you don't feel it, there's no pain, there's no sickness. You actually don't think it's doing anything until all your little hairs fall out, and you think, oh, okay, well, they've gone, so it must be doing something. And then the side effects start, which aren't very pleasant for both chemo and radiotherapy, but in a way, it's doing something if you get those side effects. it took 7 weeks of chemo radiation. I also had internal radiotherapy. So when you're going through treatment, you try and find positives every day. You have to find something to laugh about. The fact that the life you had planned didn't really involve this. And I think of one occasion where we were waiting, I just had my first scan, and we were waiting to find out what stage my cancer was. Was it stage 4 or was it an early stage? And Mum and I were both nervous in the waiting room, and so we needed the toilet. So we walked to the toilet. There was only one toilet. She goes, "Oh, if you're dying, you go first." I said, "Mom, I'm not dying." She goes, "Oh, sorry." So you have to find funny things to get you through such a horrible experience. I was lucky in that I had some really great friends and family to help me through my experience. But the way I describe it is, imagine you're actually standing on a tightrope and your friends have got hold of one end and your family have got hold of the other. And if you fall, if you lose it, you're going to carry them with you. So you kind of, as a patient, have to stay strong for them. Following treatment, you do forget actually the lows, and I think back about the positives that treatment brought me. I had my 90-year-old grandmother come out and help me through treatment, and she never would have come if I hadn't have got sick. So from bad times can come good times. My future is bright. I'm so lucky to be able to have got through treatment, and I'm now in remission and have been for coming on to 4 years, which is great. I met amazing Paul a couple of years ago following treatment, and so we're getting married in November.
I see myself as just being a support role, really, to be honest. I mean, you know, nothing will ever change the way I feel for Claire, and I try and be here and be there for her the best I possibly can, really.
Hopefully we'll be able to have children in the future in whatever capacity, whether it's through defrosting my eggs and finding a surrogate, or adoption, or yeah, other options. But kids are definitely on the radar for the future, which is great. That would be a real dream come true.